any or all of these tips, you'll eventually be DJing your own event. What's up, bros? Today I'm gonna attempt to answer one of the most frequently asked questions here on my channel, and quite frankly one of the most difficult questions to answer that I get here on my channel. How do I get gigs? How do I get my first gig? How do I get more gigs? This is a tough question to answer because I feel like everybody has a different story on how they get gigs, but today I'm gonna share with you guys the story about how I got my first couple of gigs and hopefully share some tips along the way. And I'd love to hear your stories down in the comments below, so I invite any of you pro DJs watching out there that probably do way more gigs than I do, please share your story on how you get gigs, how you got your first gig, what works and what doesn't. We'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments below. So if you're excited for this video, please be sure to hit that like button. Let's see if we can get at least 500 likes. So our story begins in 2019. That's when I got the bug. That's when I decided, hey Bar, it's time to add DJ in front of your name. My friends had always called me Bar, so I just went ahead, dropped DJ in front of my name, and I was ready. I was ready for the big time. I spent the summer of 2019 working at a food packing factory, packing food, and basically I took every single penny that I earned that summer and I bought myself some DJ gear. I bought myself a Hercules RMX DJ controller, some Radio Shack speakers, and a bunch of lights. Now that I had the gear, I thought to myself, man, I'm ready for Ultra Music Festival. I'm ready to get flown out to Tomorrowland to start DJing. And I quickly realized that's not how it works. That's not how DJ works. Getting that first gig was pretty difficult, not gonna lie. And to be honest, my first gig was actually a party that I threw myself. So here's the first tip that I'm gonna give to you guys. If you can't get parties, then throw your own parties. So I came up with this idea with my friend Elvin. He wanted to hit on hot girls and I wanted to be in front of a crowd. I wanted to DJ. I wanted to live that celebrity status. His mom and dad actually gave us the green light to throw a Halloween party. Until this day, I attribute Halloween as the day I became a DJ because that was my first real official gig. So we decided to throw a party and man, were we nervous.
Trust me, it's gonna be legendary.
So I told Elvin, I was like, let's throw a party, but let's only invite girls. And sure enough, it worked. We decided to invite as many girls as possible to this party. Somehow we still ended up with more dudes. But more importantly, we had a ton of girls. That's one thing that I learned from the start of my DJ career. If you can get the girls to come, they are going to party. And man, I was pumped. I still have a picture of this day of my little DJ setup when I DJ'd this party. It was...
This party is legend. Wait for it.
I don't remember what I played, but I know that it was a complete success. The following Monday at school, me and Elvin were solidified as legends, as party kings. And from there on, pretty much everybody in high school knew me as the DJ guy. And believe it or not, a lot of my friends that I went to high school with, they hire me for their weddings, and I feel like a lot of them remember me because of this party. And it's just because I'm so active in the DJ world. All my posts have always been about DJ, whether it be on Facebook and Instagram. So they've always just known through seeing my Instagram that I still DJ'd, and a lot of people from high school just know me as that one kid who DJ'd and is still DJing till this day. So that party was a success, and therefore they pretty much attributed to, man, he was really good back in the day, and I probably sucked because I was only like 3 months into DJing then. But the party was awesome. We even had somebody go through the wall. I was playing booty bouncing music since the start, and really that was my only party until Christmas came around. Then Christmas and New Year's came around and I decided to set up my DJ equipment for my family. The next tip I want to share with you guys is take any excuse to DJ. Even if it's a barbecue, even if it's friends or family, even if it's just a family get together, set your equipment up for them. Kind of ironic because now I'm petrified to DJ in front of my family. I hate DJing for friends and family now, which is so ironic because that's where I got my start. Then came prom season, came graduation season, and that's when I really started to DJ a lot more often. For my prom, for example, I didn't get to DJ my prom. However, I did go DJ an after party after my prom. While everybody was out getting laid, my dumbass was DJing. I'm such an idiot. Then came the summertime and I hunkered down once more. I really didn't have much gigs, and I just pretty much practiced every single day. So here's the next tip I want to give to you guys. Make sure that you are prepared. Practice, practice, practice. I remember that summer distinctly because that was the summer that I said, man, I really want to start getting into bars. I really want to start DJing nightclubs. Why is it not happening for me? I'm only DJing the shitty little house parties. When am I going to get to DJ bars and nightclubs and things of that nature? Granted, I wasn't even ready for that, but that summer, that's when I just became obsessed. That summer, every single day after work, I would come home and just start practicing. I would practice from the afternoon all the way to 2 in the morning, get a couple hours of sleep, be up by 8 a.m. and go to work and do it all over again. It was an everyday thing. That's when I also became obsessed with radio. I became Alex Sensation's #1 fan. I would listen to his show religiously, listen to how he talked on the mic, listen to what songs he would mix, and quite honestly, I would just go home and try to recreate the same mixes that I would hear. It was a lot more difficult back then because there was no way of recording this, so I would just kind of have to do it off the memory, and I couldn't like sit down and write down the names of the songs. So just off the top of my head, I would go home and I would attempt to do the mixes that he was doing every day on his radio show. I started working on talking on the microphone. I started working on just like the basics of mixing, just getting things on beat and on time, just trying to make my mixes sound smoother. So because nobody was hiring for me, I didn't have an audience to DJ to, I decided to take my music to the internet. I pretty much started posting mixes religiously on SoundCloud. Every week, SoundCloud was pretty much my YouTube nowadays. I would post every single week. I would post a new mix on my SoundCloud, and that's pretty much when I started getting traction. I also started doing live streams. Back then, we used to host our live streams on this platform called Ustream. Now it's way easier to live stream. There's so many platforms that you can live stream on. And I did that all summer, all fall. I had a friend, his name is Oscar. We called him El Macizo, and basically he had a fake ID, and he was like, man, I go to all these bars, I know the DJs, I got the hookup, I got you. If you want to start DJing bars and clubs, then just come with me. I'll introduce you to the owner, I'll introduce you to some DJs that I know. And that's what we did. He took me to this Mexican bar that he used to go to, and he pretty much told the owner, he was like, yo, this is my man Bar, he's crazy good, he knows how to get people up and dancing, you gotta hire him. And believe it or not, I got the job at that place. Got to DJ there on a Saturday night, but I remember the owner, he wasn't too happy with the way I DJ because this was a Mexican bar and I was playing shit like reggaeton, I was playing salsa, bachata, merengue, so he wasn't really happy with what I was playing. But there was also a ton of DJ guys that would hang out there. A lot of freaking DJs hung around this bar, and that's something that I learned till this day. DJs love being around the environment, so they'll just go hang out. Now, this bar ironically did open a lot of doors for me because a lot of those guys, they became my friends and they would go to other bars and nightclubs and things of that nature. And I met a guy there, he was like, yo, I'm gonna recommend you to one of the promoters. He's a promoter at like a local lounge. This was a pretty big, nice looking lounge. It was like a legit place, and they played the stuff that I wanted to play. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. The luck finally struck. The promoter called me on a Thursday. He called me on a Thursday around 6 or maybe it was 8. He called me really close to showtime. The promoter calls me and tells me basically his DJ backed out. He got into an argument with his DJ the Thursday prior, and he basically told me, I'm starting this new Thursday night. I only have $100 to give you right now because pretty much we're starting this Thursday out. So basically one Thursday in, I guess they had a really bad night and they agreed on a price. The promoter undercut him and the DJ got mad and quit. So he called me last minute. He told me, hey, I'm only going to pay you $100. It's 4 hours. You got to do the whole night by yourself. Do you want it? And I said, hell yeah. Once I started getting more comfortable around the promoter, getting more comfortable with the crowd on Thursdays, he started telling me, hey man, show up on Saturdays. I want you to see how those guys work. They work a little bit different than you. They also like use the house system. I see that you bring your own equipment, this and that. So you need to learn how those guys work on Saturdays. So I started showing up on Saturdays, every Saturday night, every every Thursday night you would catch me in that spot. Thursdays I was DJing, Saturday I was just there listening, hanging out, bullshitting, and eventually they told me, hey, you're moving up to Saturdays. I became the opening guy on Saturdays, main guy on Thursdays. Then eventually on Saturday, one of the biggest guys left to go work at another bigger club, and that pretty much gave me the green light to become the main guy on Saturday, which was huge for me. And that pretty much caused like a domino effect for me. After that, I started getting calls from other promoters. I was DJing pretty much every single day of the week. I got a Friday night at this place called Tommy's. It was another bar. Sunday nights, I actually got the call from the owner of the Mexican bar that I told you guys about. He wasn't really happy with me, but then he changed his mind, I guess, because I was like making waves. I was really active in the DJ world in my little community here. So he gave me Sunday nights. Sunday nights, I was the go-to Sunday night DJ at that spot. Then I got the call from a gay nightclub on Tuesday, so I started doing a gay place, and I decided to drop out of college and just like go to that, because I was like, man, I'm on top of the world. I'm working so much, and it's all falling into place. I'm already DJing 5 nights a week. I was DJing Tuesdays, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Then I learned something about the industry. There is a high turnover. I would become resident for like a year, and then it would just go out of business, or it would shut down, or it would change owners, it would change management, they would bring new DJs in. I never felt like I had job security when I was DJing bars, nightclubs, and things of that nature, because I was always scared that a new place was gonna open up, and that was gonna be the new hot tube place, and the people are super finicky. They're always gonna go to the newest spot, and this happens constantly. So I was constantly juggling residency, and it was just annoying, and eventually I just plateaued. I wasn't growing. I was DJing at the same places over and over again. It was the same promoters. It was the same crowd. I wanted to be DJing like, you know, LA, New York, Florida, things of that nature, and it just wasn't happening. I was always DJing in my little bubble. So I started getting a little bit depressed. I started losing some residencies, and I just wasn't DJing as much anymore. I wasn't enjoying DJing like I did when I first started. So I decided to take a step back, and that's when I started this YouTube channel. The purpose of this YouTube channel was to have a different outlet to do something else besides DJing. But ironically, when I started my YouTube channel, it got me more into DJing once more, but this time in a different world. It was mobile DJing at this time. You see, the club scene was pretty much every day to me. I just had grown so accustomed to it, I didn't see it as interesting just because I did it every week. I was like, oh, nobody wants to see that. However, I was doing mobile gigs every now and then. Every now and then I get the call for Sweet 16s, graduations, birthday parties. Because I started my YouTube channel, I needed content. I'm like, all right, maybe I can film some of these little events that I got going on. So I started creating gig logs, and then the audience started coming. So the next tip I want to give you guys is use social media. I was using Mixcloud, I was using Facebook, I was using Ustream, and then I started using YouTube, and YouTube really opened so many doors for me. Because of YouTube, I was able to start doing the things that I wanted to do when I was club DJing. I got to travel to different places. I got to DJ in New York, I got to DJ in California, I got to DJ in Florida, I got to DJ outside of my bubble because people were watching my content on the internet. If you want to get more gigs, start creating content. And remember, luck is where opportunity meets preparation. You want to make sure that you're prepared, that you know what you're doing, so when opportunity comes knocking, you won't embarrass yourself and you'll just move to the next point of your career. So I started making the videos kind of started getting some traction. I started getting more gigs because of the videos, but this time they weren't club gigs, they were mobile gigs. So I went all in. I'm like, all right, I'm no longer DJ bar, I'm now bar entertainment. And I started doing more of these events. I started filming them, and sure enough, I started getting more events because of the content I was putting out on YouTube. But it wasn't enough. I wanted even more. So I took the next step, and that's marketing and advertising. Something that I never did when I was doing the club thing. I would never pay for marketing or advertising. It was all word of mouth. It was all Facebook. It was all annoying my friends on, you know, Facebook, going on their wall and posting up a flyer, tagging them. It was really toxic. And that's not the way mobile DJing works. So I decided to invest some money onto things like Wedding Wire and The Knot. So the next tip I want to give you guys is to advertise. I see a lot of guys complain that Wedding Wire and The Knot don't work, Facebook ads don't work, and it's not that they don't work, it's that you have to know sales. I haven't really made sales videos on this channel just because I don't think I'm the right person for that. Maybe I'll make one just to kind of show you guys how I personally do it, and maybe you guys can critique me and tell me how you do things, but again, I just don't think I'm a good salesman. If you want those things to work, you have to learn how to sell. I've been able to book a ton of events using Wedding Wire, The Knot, Facebook Facebook ads and Google ads, Instagram ads. I've been able to book a ton of events, and I've also been able to book a ton of events using social media. But keep in mind, when you move into the mobile DJ territory, it's very important that you have sales ability, and most of all, when you get into the industry, you got to be able to back up what you say. So when you start doing sales, you're gonna need photos, videos to be able to prove to people that you're a good fit, because it's not like nightclubs where they hear about you, they see flyers about you, and they're impressed by you. When it comes to mobile DJing, it's a little bit different because you're gonna have to prove to these people that you're worthy enough to DJ their event for them. So it's a little bit of a different ballgame. But there's another way you can get work without having to go through all those steps. That's honestly just going to go work for another company. I've done this myself. I worked for a couple other DJ companies, and then I ended up at Posh DJs, which is one of the biggest, baddest DJ companies here in New Jersey. Some companies require that you have experience, others don't. Now, when you go work for these companies, you do have to keep in mind that there is a bit of a hierarchy. It's kind of like working at any other job. You do have to work your way up. So chances are that when you start working for them, you're just going to be rolling up cables, you're going to be doing heavy lifting, you're going to be doing roadie work. And how long you're going to be doing that is honestly going to depend on your skills as a DJ. They're going to decide whether or not you're ready to move on just based on how you work, based on your work ethic, based on your mixes, based on your social media game. So again, if you start working for a mobile up company and you want to level up quickly, you better want it. And I'm not going to lie to you, the first couple of months working at a mobile up company, they're probably going to suck for you because you're going to be the muscle. You're going to be lifting heavy equipment, you're going to be taping, and then you're going to sit there and you're going to watch the DJ like, man, I want to do what he's doing. I want to be rocking out in front of the crowd. It's going to suck, but keep in mind what I said at the start of this video. Luck is when opportunity meets preparation. Keep working on your craft, keep creating content, keep networking, and keep learning from others. See what other guys are doing, see how they're mixing, see what business practices they're doing. In my opinion, if you follow any or all of these tips, you'll eventually be DJing your own events. Fellas, I love to hear from you guys. Share your stories on how you get gigs down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new around here, and if you really want to help me out, don't forget to turn on that bell so that you can be notified next time we come up with more tips and tricks on how to get more gigs. Signing off, DJ Bar. Stay awesome, bros. Peace.